What was the first topic?
What would you invite someone to? The happy hour or Freedom Friday if there's some interest in?
You know, because you know what I find is if you wait a long time, you know, it's like you have somebody who's really hot, and then a week goes by, and then you have no touch with them, and then it's hard to get them back in, right? So you say, hey, you know, tomorrow's like a little social thing. You get to meet some of the people there. It's for different things, you know. Obviously, fun people like happy hours, like you know, like oh, I love to go to happy hour.
Right?
Yeah.
And then tomorrow you invite him for Friday.
Yeah, and then just say once he sees the energy, and just say, by the way, what I really want is for you to come on Friday.
Right.
Or so you're trying to do it Thursday and Friday?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying just to get him Thursday first, and then when he sees everybody, I feel like Friday will be easy.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And if he says he can't do Thursday, then see, are you available on Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, hey Ashley, so we're doing a happy hour Thursday at 4:15 p.m. I'll meet you at the office, and we'll walk over to.
We'll let them know, like, hey, there's some high level people that I'm surrounded by, and you said you had interest in real estate. Love to introduce you, connect you with them, and also, happy hour.
What's up? What's up?
Hello, hello.
You could fit into your schedule. Is that an opportunity you could fit into your schedule?
Thursday.
And
No, he doesn't have his license yet.
think of him, his personality, his background, and find someone at the office who has a bartending background. Maybe I think he still works there 1 day a week. Introduce him to the top dogs, Bobby and Gil. Like, not just the young people, but like based on what you know about him, match him up to the people at the top, people who have a background like him, things like that.
Okay.
You want to introduce him.
Devin, so I got my inspection extension. Like 5 days. Do I need to send it to anyone?
Your inspection?
Yeah, I have to be extended now.
Oh, you extended inspection period. Just your transaction coordinator.
Okay, so send it to.
Yeah, because the lender doesn't care that you. There's just more information, and she'll send it to them if they need it. But it's just for you, and then that buyer can know that we have an extra 2 days. Transaction coordinator. I just want to update you. You got an extension. See attachment.
All right.
Hello, everyone.
What's up? What's up? Like seeing the car rocking the all black. Right? Okay.
I'm feeling myself. Nah,
I can tell. Yeah.
How's that different?
I can tell by the way you hold, yeah, that's true. When they hold the steering wheel like that, it's not
Okay.
okay.
Oh, what? Okay, I'm gonna hold the steering wheel like this.
Okay. A little lean back. I see. Good stuff.
It's a U vehicle, Alexis.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I was on the turnpike, guys, yesterday. Like something flew off at the bottom of my car while I was on the turnpike, and then there was still like a piece left, and all you hear, I felt like I was on a boat and hitting waves. I was like, so it ended up being like a belly shield that covers the oil pan that just came out. But my car was like my car was like, oh, you got money in your bank account? I need some new things.
It's like, bang, just
Oh
dropped
my
off.
God.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, with that said, let's get some blessings started. Who wants to start? In the room, on Zoom?
Well, I
I'll
think
go.
it would be okay. You go.
Oh,
Lex.
no, you go, Bonnie. You go, Bonnie.
Let's
Go.
do like we got comps to do today, and comps tend to take a little while. What? How many?
Okay,
I
you
know I
go.
got one.
Pretty much it's gonna be almost the same thing, sort of.
Okay, well, real quick. I know Lexi's got an address. Who else has got an address to comp?
I'll give you one.
Annie has 2.
Annie has two.
That's on you.
Okay, cool. So we'll go the best top 3 blessings right now. Let's go. Who wants to? Where you go, Vani or Lexi? I forgot who's going.
I'll go. I'll go.
Okay.
Okay, blessing. We did open house. It wasn't as popular as the one we did before, but we still got work done. We got to just, talk to sellers, blah, blah, blah. My mother-in-law closed on her house, which is super exciting. I had another closing yesterday, which is super exciting, and which I don't believe in coincidences. I think everything happens for a reason. And it's so crazy. This guy who I closed on his house today is working for Disney in transportation engineering services. So he's working on the monorails, and I was a secretary in that same department before I switched over to real estate full time. So I just it was just kind of like you're in the right place, Alexis type thing. So that's my blessing.
I love that. I love that. Confirmation you're doing the right things at the right time with the right people. I like it.
Yeah.
I got one.
All right,
So
Devin's coming in.
my listing that I had last week is gonna go back on the market, but I reached out to the other people who had lost offers, and they came back with Divvy, which is a ribbon, which is a cash offer. And Ribbon's giving us 16 grand above my list price.
Oh,
So
wow.
basically cash offer that we'll probably accept. And also someone called me about my listing when it went live, and now we placed an offer yesterday. If it doesn't work out, we'll place another one this week. So because of my listing
So somebody called you that wasn't represented.
wasn't represented in Tampa, I said I wanted to get some luck by calling a listing agent. And so that wasn't the right one for him, but now I found him. We wrote an offer on another one, and he wants to buy a couple down the line. And so
That's why I love these listings, man. They got
Approved for 350.
listings have babies, man.
yeah, he's
Listings
approved,
have babies.
approved conventional for 350. We won't spend it, but he's got it.
It's a beautiful thing, man. Control the inventory, and you're gonna get more and more deals and opportunities. I like it. Who else? Who wants to go next?
I got one.
Oh, okay.
So because of door knocking with Omar, I left a sticky note on someone's door, like Deontay said, just say, hey, call me at 3, whatever. And then, so my phone's not accepting voice calls, so that's why I've been FaceTiming. And so I put text me at blah, blah, blah. And he was like, hey, this is the person from address, blah, blah, blah. Call me, please. And then, so I FaceTimed him. And then, and so he has an as-is property, but he said he's working with an agent. He gave me the address, so I'm gonna try to snatch that from someone else. And then I asked him, I'm like, are you because he's an investor. I asked him if he was looking to get into Airbnbs, and he said no, but I have a friend that also does investing that's looking to get into Airbnbs. So then he gave me his friend's number, told him to tell.
And then you FaceTime him.
Yeah, FaceTime him.
This man be
Oh,
FaceTime everybody.
yo, you did borrow Omar phone. But apparently FaceTime is working, guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently Jordy and his FaceTime technique are working really
No,
good.
I wouldn't really call it a technique. I think it's just like my only option right now. But so I have a consultation with them on Thursday, both of them sitting down with them, and yeah, and their limit is like 700K, I think, for a house.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. And this is
I'm sorry. I do believe on that. Like yesterday, because my voice sounds so weird right now, so I don't want to be calling agents for an open house. I literally sent like 30 texts to different listing agents, and finally one gave me an open house. So if it's not by calling or FaceTime, it's texting, guys.
It's like Lexi says, I don't believe everything happens for a reason, but I believe that energy and intention matter, right? When you have the right intention and you're doing the work, the universe pays you back, no matter what. If all you got is FaceTime and you FaceTime people, you're gonna get people responding on FaceTime because you have the will and you have the intention, and perfect example was like, I don't know if you guys know Sean Romano in The Office. I always remember this story from me when I was coaching him when he was starting. He told me he was showing a client a property, and the client didn't like the one property, and so Sean started to do an MLS lookup on his phone to see if there was anything else, like any expired listings or something like that or whatever. And so he found one, and he's like, oh my God, I found an expired listing here, or somebody who had listed it recently or whatever. So he knocked on the door. Son answers. Son's like, oh, my mom's not home. And he's like, oh, well, I'll just tell her to call you or whatever. And he's like, man, it'd be great if I could get her phone number so I could actually call her. So he got her phone number to call her. He's like, hey, I saw that your home went expired recently, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no. She's like, I've never put this home for sale. And Sean's like, what? And what's up, bro? And Sean's like, what are you talking about? She's like, no, I bought it like a couple of years ago. I've never put it up for sale. And Sean's like, oh, I'm sorry to bother. So Sean looks at it and sees that it was an old expired, like from years ago. So he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, my bad. 2 hours later, guess what happened? Lady called her back, said, actually, I am thinking about selling. Right? So like, just the intention, right? Just Sean saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to try and make this happen. He found some expired listing that wasn't actually expired and still got a seller from it. So it's the same thing happening to you, man. It's just you're doing the work and it's paying off, man. That's awesome. All right, let me get at least one more blessing and then we'll get into the comps.
Oh no, maybe I just got here, but no,
never a time for blessing. Always time for blessing. No matter when you got here.
We were just in the office with Mike Collier, and he was teaching me about this like company partner with called Ribbon, and they basically like change your buyer's offers into cash, yeah. And he might have just saved one of my deals. So
yeah, so connect with Home First. Home First is partnering with Ribbon.
Nice, I'm getting them pretty quick.
Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're partnering with Ribbon. There's a cash offer. They're calling it better than cash or something like that. So they'll turn your offer into a cash offer, and you already know the program.
Yeah, right.
But Home First is now partnering with them to offer that service. So for all you guys that are dealing with stuff where they don't want to accept an FHA loan or whatever, and they would rather take cash offers, we'll switch your offer to cash. There's some fee, like if it closes, I think you end up paying like a 1% premium. If it doesn't close, you end up paying. They'll buy the property. If it doesn't close with the loan, they'll buy it cash for you, but you're going to pay another 2.75% premium on the property. But if it does close with your lender, then you'll just pay a 1% premium. Basically, you pay them 1% to let you have a cash offer.
Yeah, it's so good. It's like almost too good to be true.
Yeah, well, it's kind of brilliant when you think about it. Like all I'm doing is saying, I got your proof of funds. You're gonna pay me 1% for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you close on it, and then you get.
Yeah. They waive the appraisal and they pay them.
That's what happens when you get rich. You can just find ways to make money with your money, right? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And if they don't close, you have 6 months to you can like rent it basically.
Yeah, they're gonna make
Wait,
money.
is that
with
Jess?
Yes, it is. Where are you?
You on the Davos team?
No, just so everybody knows.
But
right?
she's my content manager.
Yeah, so I'm doing content.
Oh, I was like, girl, you didn't tell me. All right.
You would have been the first.
Just so you know, everything has to run through Lexi. If you're gonna change, everything's gonna change on Davos team. It has to run through Lexi. All right, so we're doing comps, and comps take a long time.
And wait. Give me. Wait, hold on. 1 minute. I just want to say, yo, these young guys are just killing it. Thank you for just telling us what you guys are doing, because it's super cool to try to see if that works for us. And thank you for being super transparent and letting us know.
Oh, that's awesome. What a great blessing, man. Look at you young guys already making an impression on the squad. Getting some props from Lexi. That's not easy. Yeah, man. Good stuff. I love it. Yeah, no, you guys are, it's just energy, man. Energy and action, man. I love it. So Lexi, I know you shot me one. Let's take a look. Yours was in Ocala, though, right?
Yep, in Ocala. And I sent you the pictures. I mean, like the roof is new, the AC, the water heater, but man, the floors in the bedrooms are not done. It needs like paint. But I'm a little like I don't know what to price it at. They want it's going under probate, and the people who are like the son, they want at least I believe it was like 234 for it.
All right, they want 234. Okay, got you.
Yeah.
All right, so man, they changed this whole like dashboard situation here. Like I don't even know where do we find IMAP anymore? Like
Smash matrix.
Yeah.
Hit matrix and then
And it'll bring you to the regular screen.
but see, it's bringing me to actual matrix though.
Yep. And then go scroll down, bottom right. The list of all those. There you go. IMAP is in there.
That's some bullshit, man. What happened to my dashboard?
You
Man?
push tax, the tax at the top. Go at the top more.
Yo,
Yeah, I go up, and I press tax, click the tab at the very top.
oh, tax. That takes to get IMAP though.
Yeah,
Yeah, go drop down IMAP.
that's what I press.
I used to have a dashboard. As of a week ago, I had a dashboard, and now apparently dashboards are stupid. So, all right. So, so first and foremost, when we're talking about comps, okay. So I tend not to use a lot of these services where you just plug in an address and they spit you out a number. Okay. It's not that they're wrong. Sometimes they're right, but a lot of times they're wrong, and I don't know what they look for. So I give you a perfect example, like. If I plug it into some system that spits out a thing, it's gonna take let's say it just takes where my property is at, right? And then it just draws a big radius around it. Well, it probably caught this neighborhood that was built in 2017. It caught this neighborhood that was built in 1985. It cost this mobile home park down here, and then $1 million neighborhood. And it's doing some kind of calculation to tell me that my home is worth that. And I just can't roll with that. Like the way that I do it is manual, so you guys can see the actual clues and the evidence, right? And there is no one right answer to this, right? There's more like you're a detective. We're going to look at all the clues, and then we're going to make a bet on what we think is the best answer, right? And we should feel pretty good after looking at most of the stuff. Now, some comps are going to be harder than others because, right now I'm going into Ocala, which is kind of uncharted territory. Like, maybe for some reason this house is kind of like in a no HOA area and there hasn't been a lot of sales around it. Now, luckily, almost all of Central Florida has had a lot of sales, so we should get some. But you might sometimes get a unique property that has 6 acres, and you might not find 20 other properties that have 6 acres for you to look at, or even 3, which is usually what you at least want to have. I try to kind of be like an appraiser. Right? An appraiser needs to have at least 3 strong comparable properties to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do, if usually you're going to do comps basically for multiple reasons. You're going to do comps because you have a listing appointment, right? And you need to come up with a value. You're going to do a comp because you are working with a buyer. And I mean, right now in this market, you pretty much just pay whatever you're paying, whatever, right? But a lot of times, people overprice properties, right? Especially if you come across a listing that's been on the market for a lot of days. That's my first thought is, oh, they overpriced it, especially in this market. What would be the other reason? Then it's the pictures, and then it's the other shit you see on. But at the end of the day, in this market, if a property's been on the market for 30 or 60 days, like it either needs a ton of work, which means it's probably overpriced, and somebody overpriced it for the amount of work or just overpriced in general. So you're going to do it based if you're working with a buyer or for investment purposes, right? Somebody wants to know, hey, look, I'm buying this investment property and I want to flip it, right? I'm going to buy it at this, but I need to know what it's worth when it's done, right? When I get this thing fixed up, I need to know what it's going to be worth. So I'm going to look at the properties in the neighborhood that don't need work, that have already been remodeled or are in great shape. And I'm going to say, hey, man, it looks to me that once you fix this property up, you're going to be able to sell it for around this price, right? And these are the main reasons. That's why comping is so foundational and important. right? For you to be able to do your numbers with, it's that number that you have to get in order to work off the map, right? So, all right, so let's try your, so we are in, so yours was in Ocala, is that Marion County?
Marion, yeah.
All right. So go to IMAP, make sure you got your county right on the top right. So if you don't find an address, IMAP's very sensitive. So I try to put the minimum amount of the address so it doesn't get funky on me. So 2702 14th. Let's see if that pops up. Southwest 14th Street. Looks like Kenneth Williams is the this is for a listing that you're doing, Lexi?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes,
Kenneth,
yes.
Kenneth Williams. All right. So so I go into IMAP. Why? Because I want to see what the I've never seen this property. I don't know what I'm looking at. So right here, it's going to tell me, and you can do this in other public records tools, but now I know it's a 4.2. So write that down, everyone. 4.2, 1680 square feet. Built in 1968. Okay. So 1680 square foot heated, built in 1968, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. And I look over here to see if there's anything else, like, it says paved concrete. Sometimes it'll tell you here that they have a pool. Doesn't look like they have one. But this is how I get my specs, right? Like I know what I'm working with because I want to compare apples to apples. Okay. So now that I've got that, another thing that I sometimes like to do is, if I haven't seen the property, is just take this address and go to Google Maps and do like a street view. Obviously if the property's in town, you could always do a drive-by, but I like to at least just take a look, because sometimes on the street view you can kind of see like, oh, this is a kind of a suspect neighborhood. Okay, this is typical cookie cutter, but the houses are well maintained. Oh, this is a really nice neighborhood. The only time you're not going to get a street view is if it's a gated neighborhood and the Google people can't get in there, right? So in this particular case, I'm gonna put this address in here. And she had already sent me pictures, but this is how I would be able to take a look, right? So
It's off a main street.
Why'd you say that? I was going to use that example. So this is the
I'm
perfect.
sorry.
No talk. You keep driving, all right? That's what you're supposed to do. All right.
Okay.
But she's right. That's the first thing I noticed in the street view is this. Right? You look to be on a busy street. Like that looks like a main street right there. It looks like it goes into this neighborhood street. But things you think about, like street noise, if you have kids, do you want them playing in the yard next to the main street? At least there's a side street here, and apparently there's side street parking too. But I always look about like, this is a pretty big house. It has a nice driveway. So sometimes when houses are officially on the main street, I think about parking too. Like, what if you want to have friends over and you can't park on this street, right? But just something to think about. This one's not terrible because it's off of a side street, but it is the main street's right here. So just, maybe docket a few points for that. One thing I didn't look at, actually, I forgot, was the acreage, because this looks like a pretty big lot. Okay, 0.5, so half an acre. Okay, so it's a half an acre property. Important to note, it's bigger than usually typical lots. So when we look at the other lots, we'll take that into account. Like, okay, well, this one has a half acre. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a traditional residential search. So just so you know, in your search tools here, you can obviously look for residential. Okay. If you're ever looking for investment properties, don't forget to also look under income properties. Okay. So some people, if there's a property that has a tenant in it, they won't list it under residential. Residential is under the assumption somebody's moving into this property. Income means it's rented. So you might be missing some of your triplexes and duplexes and some of your rental properties. Okay. If you don't look under income properties. In this case, I'm gonna stick to residential, but I'm just letting you know when you guys do your searches and you're looking for stuff. And if you want to make that easy on yourself, if you go to cross property, it'll help you search everything, including commercial. So if you go into a cross property search, let's say I wanted to do that, right? Let's say I wanted to search for both residential and income types. I would click this, and then I would click this one as well. So now I'm looking at residential and income, and it'll pull all of it up for me. And look, you see, you can look at all sorts of stuff, vacant land also in one search. In this particular case, I'm going to stick to residential because that's what we've got. And that's how I want to price it. I want to price it like somebody's going to live in it. So I'm going to go to residential detail. Okay. And I'm going to click active, pending, and sold.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So when we're comping properties for a buyer, let's say it is for our investors, should we do it the reverse? Because they're going to be renting it out. You know what I'm saying?
As far as comping it for an investor buyer, you're saying?
Yes. So
Okay.
they're gonna be renting the property out.
So you're saying, should you go into the income properties? I think you should probably do both.
Okay.
Do both. I mean, when it comes to what a property is worth to an investor, oftentimes it has to do with what it produces income wise.
Right.
So that's usually my main indicator as to whether it's worth it, right? Is it bringing in enough money for what you're paying for it? But yeah, that's a good idea. Like if you are comping something for an investor, maybe don't rule out the income properties.
So do cross property, not.
A cross property, yeah, you can do cross property just to get more listings like that are rentals. I suspect that the income properties are going to comp less because an investor's buying them. Like
Right.
investors don't buy at the top of a market. They're trying to get a deal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all the time they're trying to get a deal. So that's why most of the time, you know, if it's an investment property, you know, I can look at what's the property worth retail, which I think they would want to know. And if I was an investor, hey, this property is worth X, but really I'm looking at how much income is it producing versus what I'm paying for, right? What's the return, right? So on a simple math problem, if it's producing $10,000 a year in net income and I paid $100,000 for it, I'm making 10% a year on that property. That's a good return for most rental investors. For rental investors getting 7% or up, they're usually pretty excited about that. Somebody say something? No. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to look at active, pending, and sold. Okay. So active is going to tell you what your competition is, right? It's not going to tell you what's sold, so it's not going to give you a super accurate, valuation, but it gives you some information. I want to see everything. I want to see who I'm competing against. How many people am I competing against, right? Because that might actually affect what I price it at. So what if I have a very highly sought after neighborhood and you're the only listing there? You might be able to get more money, right? People are always trying to buy in that neighborhood. So you're going to be the only one for sale. Those are things I look at. Pending is things that are under contract. We won't know what they're under contract for at this stage, but the best way to know whether or not you think the price is around where it needs to be is to know how long did it take to come off the market, right? So if I see that something's for sale for $250 and it went off the market in 3 days, I can make the assumption that it's probably at least $250. Why would I take it off the market in 3 days if I didn't at least get something close to what I want? Does that make sense? Okay. And then finally sold's going to be my best indicator of what's real, what things actually sell. Now, you also got to take into account the market we're in. So that's why you guys are real estate experts, because you know that right now I'm kind of leaning on higher pricing because I'm like, man, I know what people are doing right now. They're overpaying for properties and things like that. So I'll lean towards a higher price than usually a lower price, when in a normal market, I'd say I'd rather you go more conservative on this because I want to get as much attention as possible on this property. Okay, so active, pending, and sold. Now we don't have a ton of these anymore, but I usually click none here when it says special sales provision. This is asking whether or not the property was sold in some kind of distress situation, short sale, whatever. I don't want any of those properties because they're usually going to sell for what? For less, right? So I don't want, that's not the best indicator right there. And then I usually want to match my property style. Now in this case, I'm going to zoom into the neighborhood. So I'm pretty much going to be only looking at single family residences, but there's those neighborhoods that have like condos, townhomes, all sorts of stuff all in there. So it's an easy way to rule that out. So I'm looking at single family residence, no special sales provisions, active, pending, and sold, and you'll see that it goes back 6 months already. Okay, if for some reason I leave my initial criteria pretty general because I rather look at a lot of stuff first and then narrow it down than get super specific on my criteria and then be like, I got no comps. Right. So I'll start with 6 months because that's what we should be looking at. But if for some reason I can't find enough, one of the first things I do is go back a little ways. Because I can make an adjustment for a year, even a year and a half if I have to, knowing, hey, the market's been going up. So I'm going to give it a little bump for this, but at least I have more things to look at because in a situation where I have nothing to look at, it's just hard to come up with any number. Okay, so that's pretty simple right there. Active, pending, and sold, single family residence, special provision, none. And then I'll go to this side and I just keep it kind of simple here. I usually just do a square footage range here. So an appraiser is not going to look and compare 1,000 square foot property to a 3,000 square foot property. Typically, what's up, big dog? They typically will stay within, they'll typically stay within a 20% above and below your square footage range. So we can compare like to like. So I don't get into like, oh, I only want to look at 4 bedrooms right now. I'm just going to keep it very general and do a range of square foot heated. So the square foot heated was 1680. Did anybody write it? Let me say write it down. Man.
Yeah.
1680. All right. So subtract 20%. Tell me what that is.
You want me to do the math?
Your calc. How about your phone? Do the math.
1,344.
Wait, what is it? 20%?
1,344. So I'm just gonna come down to 1,300. Okay, Dev. Top number.
What was the square footage?
1680.
2016.
2000. Okay. So let's just go to 2,100. Yeah. It was the first number wrong.
Yeah, that's why I said, did you really want me to do that? 1680 times 20%?
Minus just
Minus 20%.
you can actually your calculator will actually minus 20%.
I know, but yeah, see, still not like that.
Yeah, give me that.
680. She got
No,
1340.
I got 1344.
Right, that's what you got. I brought it down to 13. You got it right. Okay. Yeah, you're good.
There you go.
Yeah. It's all good. All right.
So you minus 20% and then you add 20%?
Yeah.
And
So
that's
I'm.
your range?
That's my range.
Okay.
That's how I do it. So that's how I start, right? And now if I get a ton of 4 bedroom, 2 baths to look at, then I might narrow it down by only 4 bedrooms because I got plenty of them to look at. But if I don't, then I'm kind of just staying in this range. Okay. So this is all I do at first. Okay. And then I'll go here to this map tab right here. And you see where it says jump to address on the top right. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that address of that property. And it'll zoom right into where that property's at. Okay, so now I'm looking at the neighborhood, right? And you can see there's already one that's sold right here. Okay, but I don't see a ton. I see a couple of actives over here. But the difference in pricing is looks like pretty big compared to that one. So what I'm gonna do is, let's see my shit. Okay. So this is an interesting one, right? Because this doesn't quite look like one of those it looks like one of those no HOA type of areas. There's not a ton of sales in this particular area. This area over here looks very similar. But here's one at 225, that's a 4.2. Here's a 3.2 at 210. So what I could do, what did I say the first, like if I really wanted to dial into this area here where the neighborhood is at, what could I do to see if I got more comps?
Go back in time.
Go back in time. Maybe we go back in time and let's see if we can find something else just to see, because I don't want to just base it on these other properties. Let me see if by chance, if I move it back to 365 days and I go back to the map. Bam. Okay. So look. Interesting. Okay.
Did you change the pending too, or only the sold?
I just changed the pending. It wouldn't. If I go back a year and pendings turn to solds. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot we're going.
So let's look at these real quick because these actually happened. Like one of them happened like literally almost next door. So these are 4 solds. Now I won't go through this today, guys, but you can create your own search display. I like to do that because there's a bunch of columns here I might not want to see. So I have Bob's comp display it. And so I look at the things that I want to look at. So these are all sold. Actually, so this looks to be a flip. Is this a flip, Lexi?
No, the dad bought it and he died.
Oh, good story.
Yeah, so it's
good talk. Okay, so he just bought it.
Yeah, he bought it recently, yeah, but then he
Okay.
passed.
Okay.
So it's going under probate now.
Okay. So, and has he done anything to it?
Yeah, he's done new water heater, new electrical outlets, new AC. Hold on. Okay, all painted outside and for the shed to match, new power pole and power panel updated to code, all new. What's a fascia? I don't know, FASCIA, new gas hot water heater tank, recessed lighting, new front door, it's a hurricane proof, new air conditioning system, updated electrical power socket switches, all new appliances, all new kitchen, just installed granite top counters, new toilet, all needed work is permitted and we have documents to work. We will provide credit to paint updates, but we do not need to sell. We want to sell as is. Yeah.
Does the kitchen still look like this?
No, I sent you the pictures. No, the kitchens are, it is updated. It has stainless steel appliances. It has great countertop, great cabinets. It has granite countertops, much updated than this.
Oh yeah. This looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Here, drop that to the class.
Yeah. Could probably, right? All right. You guys can flip through these.
Bobby's phone.
I'll find some shit missing. Sort of guy you end up. All right, so they did do some updating here. They bought it for 159 last month, or for 165 last month. Okay, cool, got it. All right, here's another 4.2 that sold. That's slightly smaller. And this one, when this one sell. This one sold 7 days, slightly smaller. This sold July of last year, which we could, we're gonna add, we're gonna add some price to that because the prices have gone up. What was the price that they said they wanted to sell, Lexi?
Like 235.
235. Okay.
So I wanted to, I was there yesterday and I took the pictures because the floors need to get done, the paint and inside. But I mean, the framework is good, like the AC and all that stuff. I think the roof is like 2014 or 18, one of those. But
okay. So these are older. So let me find. There was one that was newer, right, guys? Like there was just one. The one that sold. All right, so this one sold for 235. All right, so this one sold. All right, so let's take
226. They asked for 235.
Yeah, 235. Yeah, sold for 226. All right, so this one sold within 14 days. One less bedroom. Always look at the descriptions, right? So it's important if they did the roof. It's important if they did the AC. It's important that they did the electrical. All these things cost a lot of money, and you can ask for more money, right? So this one here that sold for 235, which is kind of, or 226, close to their price. It's a 3.2
Let's see if I had anything new over half an acre. So acreage is almost identical. Perfect. House located on a quiet dense 3 parklet setting. This is a move-in ready home, features tons of updates, including 2019 roof. Okay, kitchen paint, whatever. I think this house is actually pretty darn comparable. Aside from the square footage. Nice flooring. Had that wood paneling. I used to have some of that. It's a nice kitchen. Okay, this is actually pretty on point. All right, so let's try something out here real quick. Let's try. So this you see this right here, this sold price per square foot. I'd like to do this to try to get a number in my head, because we have a different square footage, right? This one's 13. No, heated is 2,000 actually. So this one's bigger than ours. So out of curiosity, what's 110 times 1680?
184,800.
184,000. But however, whenever a home gets bigger, naturally the price per square foot tends to drop. Okay, so let's try this at like 116 a square foot. Let's see where it comes to.
194.
194. Still pressing up against it. The thing is that your house has 4 bedrooms, this one has 3. So there's an element there that even though this one's bigger, you also have something that kind of counteracts that.
Do you think the appraiser is going to take one into consideration more than the other?
Let's take this into consideration here real quick as well. Look, you see this thing right here? If you look down here, it says seller credit. Okay, so this house didn't sell for 226.5. It sold for closer to 222. So it actually didn't sell for that. So, and it's a pretty nice house, pretty comparable. But it sold in December. Honestly, in this market, I think she could probably get 235 for it. That's just my thought. Even though.
So what would you list it at though? Would you list it at the 230, like exactly what they want, or?
Well, what do you think?
Me, I would list it. I honestly would list it maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe like 224.99 to 224,900 maybe. And then, maybe to kind of get a multiple offer situation, or even a cash buyer or someone, no appraisal contingency type thing.
Even with this one has original cabinets in the kitchen. Right?
No, it looks like they upgraded. It's a new roof. No, the kitchen was decent. Nice flooring. I mean, as nice as it's gonna get in this part of Ocala. For the most part. Look at that.
Those are original cabinets. Like it's not granite.
Well, that's granite. That looks like granite to me.
I'll zoom in. Looks like it. That's Home Depot. That's not good.
Nah, I agree with you about the cabinets.
I promise you that's not good.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. Lexi, I'm thinking somewhere between 219 and 229.
I was gonna say I wouldn't go past the 230.
Just get 230.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't list it higher.
Right.
Too.
Because I'd rather go a little bit lower. And in
Yeah.
this neighborhood, it even worries me that this one took 14 days to sell in our crazy ass market. It's like, damn, well, might have been 2 months, you know what I mean? 14 days to sell.
I think
I
like the 219. It just sounds sexy, right? Like 219, that's it, like type thing.
Yeah, I like it. And like you said, like, look, the one big mistake you can ever make is overpriced property, right? For the seller and for you. You're you rather have competition. I'd rather be at 219 and get 20 offers than be at 239 and crickets, right? And nothing. And then I'm lowering my price. And then I'm 14 days on the market, and then I'm 21 days on the market, and now somebody's not even offering what I wanted. I'd rather put it at 219 and get a bunch of people competing and drive it up to 230, 235, which in this kind of market, and with the amount of upgrades that they did, I think they're gonna get a ton of offers. The one thing they have going for them, they're not as big as this one, but they have more upgrades. You know, I feel like it's a better looking house altogether. So I think 219 is a strong price, you know, but if they're like, oh, I don't know about that, whatever, I would be okay going up to 229. And I normally, and like I said, I'm way more lenient in this kind of market. I'm way more lenient. But that's a nice house. That was well done. And, you know, we still got to take into consideration that also the main street too. Remember that it was on a main street. So I think 219.9 is good. Is that good?
Bobby,
Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Bobby, when you don't know the age of the roof, can you show us how to go into county records to find that for the permit search?
Sometimes it shows it here. I have an easier time finding that in the actual property appraiser site. Like if you go into the Marion County property appraiser site, sometimes there's a link here for permits. I don't know, is there permits in the clerk of court?
But maybe actually click on for.
Probably should close some of these.
Property appraisers.
While you're looking for that, I went to a mastermind a couple weeks ago, and it was 3 listing agents. And she said one way that she always wins her listings is by just accepting what the seller is saying, but set the expectation. So for like Lexi's, they're adamant about like the 230 or 235. So just accept that, but say if we don't get anything within a certain amount of time frame, I think we should drop it to be where I would have originally priced it. And 99% of the time, the seller would agree to that, because a lot of other agents don't want to do that. So then they'll end up going with you over going with those other listing agents. But then you end up either getting them what they want, which is a win-win, or you already set the expectation and then you bring it back down within that time frame. And then
What was the time frame that they're bringing that down?
She didn't say.
I don't, in general, I don't like that, you know, because when a property goes on the market, the first day you put it on the market is your sexiest day. And every day you get uglier. And so you're going to waste your first impression, right? By overpricing it. And then on top of that, your solution is to start backing down the price, which makes you look weak.
Yeah.
You know, I rather not do that unless, like I said, sometimes it's negligible. Like, I don't know that they can't get 235 in this kind of market for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why I do 219. And if they fight me on it, I'll do 229. But like if somebody's it depends. If they're way overpricing it, no, that's just dumb. Trust me, I've tried it this way. All that's going to happen is you won't sell it. You're going to get blamed, and they're going to choose another agent. They're going to drop the price. The agent's going to sell it. That's happened to me twice. Won't happen the third time. Right? When literally I told my client, I was like, yo, like we're way off, like way off. But because they had done like 7 deals with me before, I was kind of like, all right, let's just try your way for now. 6 months later, they dropped the price they sold it for below what I would have initially priced it at, which is what happens. Because by the time you actually get to the right price, somebody's going to offer you less because you look desperate. Oh, you've been backing down your price. Oh, you backed down your price 2 weeks in? There got to be something wrong. Why would you do that? Right? So in general, I don't like that. She might win the listing, but I'm curious to see how many of those things sell. And then, you know, and then you're the agent that sold it below the price.
She's on the cover with Gil, her and her husband. She's the black lady with the blonde hair. I forgot her name. I think
cover of what?
the Orlando Real Producers.
Oh, Real Producers?
Mhm.
Yeah.
She's with Keller Williams.
I mean, you could try it. I don't like that route. You know, I like to price it right. I don't like to waste my first impressions. Like I
Right.
said, unless it's something where I'm like, I'm actually not 100% that it can't sell for 235.
Mhm.
Because in this market, it might. I mean, at the end of the day, she's got a 4.2. That was a 3.2 that sold. It is bigger, but in a market where it's hard to find shit and everybody's competing, what's to say you can't sell for 235? But if there were like 255, I'd be like, nah, bro. Like I'm already stretching it. I'm already stretching it based on square footage. Right now, I'm really stretching this.
For me, on the buying side, if we overpay, I back them down on fixing things or asking for money. You're definitely not 30-day loan commitment. I'm not doing anything faster because you've overpriced it. So you're definitely not getting anything other than your little number that we might negotiate later on.
So Viviana, that's what you.
Because I'm trying to find it on my property, but I'm on the property appraiser site, but I can't find, I don't remember where to go.
All right, we'll tackle that offline so we can get through a
Yeah,
few more
okay.
comps. So next address.
Can I do mine? I have my listing appointment later today.
Okay. All right. Do you have all the specs? Like, do you know, square footage and all that stuff, or should we look it up?
Look it up.
All right.
because
All
And
right.
for my, like, when I'm on the
Is
buy
it,
side,
what county is it in?
Polk.
Polk County?
I sold her dad a property 5 years ago, and she texted me yesterday morning.
you're old.
Where is she gonna go?
You sold something 5 years ago?
It's her
God.
dad's condo, so I'm gonna ask her what happened to her dad. Her dad's show.
What's the address?
2040 San Marcos Drive. And it's apartment 203.
Something's overpriced, I'll just order the appraisal early and then get a loan denial. They don't want to change the price.
All right, so
Buyer's
So-
protected, right?
So one thing to note too is, if it's a condo like this, see if I just put the regular address, I'm gonna get all of these. But what was the unit number?
203.
Oh, there it is. All right, so sometimes you got a lot of these. And so there is a place on the search where you can put unit number and it'll narrow it down, but Emil Bodnar. All right, so now we're looking at so this is a condo.
Yes.
All right, so we've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1276. Okay, remember that, Annie?
Okay.
You're gonna be doing a math problem soon. Okay. 1985. So the good thing about a condo complex is as long as stuff is sold, you're gonna get pretty much apples to apples, right? In there. So that's the deal about condos. All right, 1276, 1985. Cool. All right, so I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna do the same thing. Copy this address. Okay. Pending sold. None. Condominium. All right, what's my range, Annie? Gosh dang.
1020.
All right, 1,000 to what?
Your high is 1531.
15. All right. All right. Map.
Why don't you put in the square, not the square footage, the,
Bedrooms?
no. You know how you can do 0.5 miles away from the property?
Yeah. So this was what I said. I think you guys weren't here at the beginning. So why? Because if I did 0.5 miles away from this location here, think about what I'm going to get in my search. I mean, I'm going to get all these neighborhoods that aren't in my, I want to look at my neighborhood first. An appraiser is not going to be like, oh, I couldn't find the value you wanted. Let me go to the neighborhood next door where they're selling the high price homes and get you your value. It's not what a lender hires them for. A lender is like, you better tell me the right price for this shit,
Right.
or I don't want to lend the money. right? So I started in the neighborhood first. That's why I don't like those programs where you just dump an address in and it spits you a number out. Because I don't know if they're doing exactly what you're saying. That scares the shit out of me. Because if we would have gone to the other neighborhoods, there was a neighborhood right next to that first thing that was selling in the 300s for a 3.2. Well, that ain't my neighborhood though.
Right.
You know, so I would have taken that little machine would have taken some kind of average of all those things. And I'm like, I don't want that. So first thing I'm gonna do is just hop right to where we're at, which is this condominium complex here. And it doesn't look like there's a ton of sales in there. So I see one pending for 199. So let's just look at this one. This is actually a 3.2. Yeah, it is actually the same square footage. Are you sure it's a 2.2?
I just scheduled it. I'm going to look at the property and I'm gonna do everything like that when I get there.
Go on your phone and go to Polk County Property Appraisers just in case. Because I find it weird, unless they somehow turned the bonus room into a third bedroom, I find it weird that they would have 2.2s and 3.2s in the same complex that are the exact same square footage. So stuff like that is kind of the detective. So like, if you ever see something like that, doesn't make sense. Like, look into it because you might not have the right stuff. Sometimes the IMAP or something like wrong. So let's see this one, 213. 11 days, 3.2, it says back on market, great vacation home or income rental property. Spacious
Don't
too.
hurt today, like you already have a buyer.
I love this home. Okay, doesn't look like they've got anything, but it's a condo, so it's under the association. So let's see what this condo looks like. Not terrible. No.
It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and property appraisers.
That's what we're
Okay, maybe this one has a little bonus room or something. I don't know. This one's nice. So, yeah, it's a nice little unit. So I'm assuming in this complex this is about as good as it gets. And this is pending in 11 days and was listed for 199.9. Two-story unit. And maybe that's what this was, like a 2-story unit. Or maybe yours isn't. That's fine. It's weird. And then always good to go out here and see realtor remarks and things like that. So it's currently pending. It's currently leased. See instructions. This home is currently leased until December of 2022. Current monthly rent is $17.90. Was locked in before the last upswing in rent prices. So they're trying to tell you that you could get more for your rent, right? Community does allow 30-day rental periods. Okay, so there's a chance that this is selling lower than a normal unit in here would, because it's harder to sell something with a tenant in. And once again, most people want to live in it, so that's not going to work. And then the people who buy these are going to be who? We're going to try to get the lowest price possible to get the highest return. Okay. So out of curiosity, if you guys want to do a little quick calculation, the rent was $17.90 a month currently. So somebody multiply $17.90 by 12. Oh, you already did that, huh?
Well, I mean, right after you said it.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Now trying to be on top of
Trying to
shit.
be faster than that.
Okay. So let's just do a gross income kind of number just to see where we're at. So what is that divided by 200,000, which is the price of the unit? Divided by 200,000. You already got the number in it. All right, that's a 10.74% return, right? But let's just be real, they're not gonna clear that, right? Like, I always like to take something off the top. There's taxes, there's insurance. What if it's not rented the whole year? What if there's repairs? What if something breaks down, right? So let's just go back to the original 21,400, was it? Okay, go ahead and chop off like 25% off of that, minus 25%. All right, now divide that by the $200,000 price. 8, not bad. Not a terrible buy, right? So even with 25% taken off of that gross income, it looks like it's clearing about 8% return, which like I told you, usually 7 and up is pretty good. So that's how you can start evaluating your investments as well. Like, okay, this could fit. Now, if that shit came out to like 3, it's probably not something your investor's gonna like. But I always ask investors how they do their math problems. Because there's times that I do my math problem. I'm way more conservative because I want to, whatever, but there's some investors that are way liberal, you know, and they're doing this for another reason or whatever. So I don't want to impose, unless I think somebody's making a terrible decision, I don't want to impose my own investment beliefs on somebody who wants to buy and talk myself out of a deal. Now I've done this, those guys that bought those 7 properties for me, like I would always ask them because they always would buy these condos as oh, you know, one great thing to look, actually, this is a condo. So it's actually worse than this. This is your problem with condos. Is your HOA fees.
Did you type in wrong? HOA fee $2.
Yeah, that sounds weird. But they did a condo fee of HOA fee of $2 and then $223 monthly. So let's say even $225 monthly. Well, right there, right then and there, you can go subtract that from the $1,790. So it's not as good a deal as we thought. That's why I don't like condos. That's what I used to tell these guys. I used to buy these condos downtown, and I'm like, guys, I'm like, you guys can get a better return not paying $600 a month in HOA fees, right? So, but they liked them. They were New Yorkers who are used to condos, and at some point I was like, what do you want to buy? I was like, I don't want to tell you. You don't want to buy it? You just buy it. Fuck it. You love it. All right. So we got an issue here because all we have right now is one pending. So let's go ahead and drop it back to 365 days, see if we get a couple of other things here. All right, looks like we got a sold here.
2 results for that.
Okay, this one looks like yours,
Mhm.
right? This sold back in April of last year. You have not seen anything about the inside of you don't know, have any clue.
No, I don't.
Okay, terrible. Okay, I have not. So first 5 pictures are your sexiest pictures, right? This is what people look at when they decide whether or not going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm on picture 6 and I'm still looking at a palm tree and a penwood sign. It's bad. I wasted my first opportunity to show them the sexiest part of this property. Well, maybe the inside sucks, and maybe that's what we did. Like, hey, maybe the palm tree is the best shit. I don't know, but it isn't. Look, and then your first picture is a railing with a cable wire on the left. You know, it's like wondering why shit sold for 140. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about, man. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. You been taking code down? Been taking code down? No, oh boy. Hey, how many pictures of the fireplace do we need? Apparently 10. Oh, take a closer look. Oh, that window. That window. Oh my God.
Older agent.
What is that? A drape? That's awesome. Wood paneling, great, fantastic. See this? That's weird. They must have done something to that other unit where they put a 2 or they mistook it, because I don't, that this is the same unit, it's a 2-story unit, 1276 square feet. So I feel you got a shot at 200 with the first one. That one's actually a recent sale. This one sold, I mean, somebody, a year ago. Is actually not terrible shape. You know, they did a couple of things. You had a little bowl sink, that's nice. It's just, you know, bad agent, you know, taking pictures of shit you didn't need to see. But the price, I mean, market's gone crazy. in the past year, right? So it wouldn't be crazy to think that this unit might be $199 now. You know,
Wait a
or-
minute. That's his unit.
Oh, that is his unit. Oh, so he bought
He
it.
did buy it back in April for 140. I did look that up.
Okay, there we go. So this is the unit.
Yeah.
Okay, but then this same thing happened twice. But the first guy died. You guys are at least alive.
Well, I don't know yet.
Oh, he's not. You don't know if he's alive.
I'm talking to his daughter.
Ah, shit. There's a lot of shit going on. It's the most morbid comp session we've ever had. God dang. All right, let me see what the description says. Moving ready, well taken care of condos, and a story, blah, blah, blah. There's a new HVAC in 2004. Complete remodel 2007. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that,
225.
where,
Oh, Karen.
Literally.
Karen Myers. All right, so so this one sold for 140 a year ago. He probably didn't do anything to it, but all right, this one's gonna be a little tougher on us. We could try just seeing all together what's for sale. We could go back farther, but I don't think that's going to help us a ton. So we could eliminate the whole square footage and just see what's happening in the neighborhood to see if we have more things in that. Is this the same neighborhood though?
Mm-hmm. Well, same street, yeah.
Park Lake, yeah. Okay, so this one just sold in March for 159.9 to 22. It's smaller, but it's at 159.
It's not 2 stories, like a high ceiling.
Yours was 1276. This one's 967. Out of curiosity, take 165 and do your square footage and tell me what you get.
$210. A little over 210. You said 165, right?
Yeah. See, this kind of clarify. This is newer sale. It's about 300 square foot smaller than yours. A little bit less than 300 square feet. It's in decent shape, nice flooring and everything like that. But this one sold for 159.
Right.
So yeah, and yours is bigger, 2-story. So I'm still liking that close to, what have they told you a price? What do you think? This is actually a very clean unit.
I was going in with that 200, but I wanted her to give me a price first, obviously. And also take a look to see if he did anything.
Even if he didn't, and it's just the same, I mean, it wasn't a terrible unit. I mean, they had some upgrades. The main thing is it's a larger 2.2. And one's already sold for, we had that one for 199. That was like an investor one. Based on this, even though it's small, I think 199.9 is not a terrible pocket for it to be in. This one's a little tougher. I don't got a lot to go on.
Right.
But the clues are telling me, okay, well, I've got a 2.2 here. It sold in 2 days, partly because it was nice. But this is smaller than yours, and it sold for 159. Yours is bigger. Only thing I'm not sure of is if the 2-story hurts you or helps you. If the second story is if the second bedroom is upstairs or whatever the case may be.
I mean, I feel if you walk into this one, it's a cardboard box. You walk in the other one, you actually have high, tall ceilings, like at least a little bit of just presence to drum up that rompers.
Right. And this is the one that's supposedly a 3-2.
But that one's also a rental, so I can also keep in mind, if they sell it, we could possibly also be selling it to an investor. So the 2-2 might not matter. I mean, the 2-story might not matter.
Right.
I would call that agent, be like, hey, what are your offers like?
I like that one's nice.
This one, okay, this one's nicer.
It is.
It's nicer. But it's a rental. So if an investor bought this, why wouldn't they buy
The other one.
the other one? You know, even if it wasn't as nice, especially if you're gonna put a renter in there.
And you can get more than almost 18 a month for it.
Does it say how long the tenants are there? Because I called 2 today that was currently leased, and both of them tenants are already moved out. They just never took
But
that out.
that one said that they're in there until December.
Okay.
Get a price from her. I mean, if she's, I think I wouldn't go over 199.
Dang, dude, it's all big.
Never happened to me. I wouldn't go over 199. If she says anything less than that, I go with her lower number. I think you can sell at 199. But this is a really nice unit. Now yours has got a really nice fireplace. But and it's a decently kept unit.
Yeah.
They bought it for 140. I was initially just off the rip gonna give it like a 175 number. After I saw the 140, I was like, okay, man, you gotta be happy with a $35,000 gain in 1 year. But you know how people are. Maybe we go with the 189 route. You know, I think I'm leaning more conservative than the 190. Like 199 is my top
Okay.
right now.
And that's without looking at it though. Because we're going based off of he didn't do shit to it.
Right. Yeah, maybe he did some shit to it, but I don't know what he could have done to it much more. So that's what I would do. The more conservative, like I think 199 is my top, and then I lean towards a lower number, especially if they're like, and maybe I start off the question by saying that, say, hey, you know, you bought it for 140, you know, last year. Out of curiosity, how much you think that it's appreciated, and maybe actually look up the appreciation percentage.
How can I do that?
MLS has, the Aura has that, like how much properties have appreciated, how much they appreciate like per month or per year. Look that up.
Okay.
Look like the daily market reports, because you can actually do a calculation just like that. It's like, okay, then shit's gone up 20% since last year. That brings it up to this. If he hasn't changed a thing, at least you have that number in your head. Let me see if I can see those market reports. All right, I know we're over time, but let's try to do one more.
Can we do one?
Yeah.
Another condo.
Market Watch. No, that's not. I know they have these reports. HomeSnap.
So since he's selling that condo within the year, does he have to do that 1031 exchange if he doesn't want to pay that capital gains tax? How does that work? Me and Yando were talking about this the other day, and I just feel like
You've got to own, if you sell it in under a year, your capital gains tax is just higher. You still have to pay capital gains. If you just do a normal sale.
under 2 years, right? Because I think if you sell it over 2 years, then if you get another property, then you can avoid paying that.
Right. So if you buy a primary residence and you own your primary residence for 2 years, you're not going to pay any taxes on your capital gains.
Right.
Okay, because if it's your primary one, not on investment.
Okay.
Not on investment properties. On investment properties, I believe a short-term capital gain is something like a flip, like something you would do within the year. But if you own it for at least a year or more, you look this up, but this is just Bobby telling you what he thinks he knows. But the tax rate will be lower if you keep it longer, right? But you still pay taxes. Now, if you want to avoid the taxes right now, you're gonna pay the taxes at some point. But if you want to avoid the taxes right now and you have an investment property, you can take your gains from that property and buy another property
Yeah.
like immediately after, but you have to identify that. I mean, it's not like you can wait, like you have to know, you have to buy that next property within 6 months. I believe you have to identify the property within 45 days of closing. You have to know which one's next. And then you have to close within the next 6 months for your gains to transfer into the new property. You have to buy a property at least the same price as what you sold the last one or more.
Right.
Okay, and then you can avoid paying taxes on that gain. But eventually, when you want to cash out, you're going to pay taxes.
Right. But so is that regular or is that 1031 exchange?
That's 1031.
That is 1031.
Yeah, 1031 exchange is a whole process. You need a 1031 intermediary. There's a whole process involved. And you have to identify the property in that 45-day window. You have to close within that 6-month window. And the government will say, okay, you don't have to pay taxes on that gain right now. And the whole point is you keep flipping it. And then when you finally like, I'm ready to cash out, then you're going to pay taxes.
Right.
But you'll pay taxes. You will have flipped your money many times over. So yeah, you're going to pay a bigger tax bill, but you're going to pay on a bigger chunk of money that you made by flipping the money.
I'm sorry, I heard something in the bathroom.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't need to hear that.
So if they said, so he's had this for a year at least, is he gonna pay the capital gain taxes, or if it's his primary,
Yeah, he's going to pay taxes on it.
should I bring that up now?
It's an accounting
For
question.
is an option not to sell it?
I'm about to find out.
Well, do you want to? I mean,
Just
you're
get
trying to work
listed.
your way out of
They're
it.
just
You-
okay.
you're trying- I mean, don't get me wrong. Like
Because I don't want them to come back and be like, oh, well, my realtor didn't tell me that I was. gonna
No.
pay all
Not
this
their
money."
account.
I'm assuming that if they're selling this property within 1 year, there's a reason. Now, if they had a stupid reason, I would say it, right? Like, but usually this is not happening for no reason, right? Unless this was a flip, then he should know that
Or
there's
maybe he
capital
did
gains.
die.
Or somebody died.
Oh, don't say that. I
He
thought that
was old when I sold him his first one.
5 years.
There's a lot going on
Let
there.
me walk you.
Okay, I got
All right,
Would you do anything different if you're comping for a buyer? Like anything at all? Like comping, property for.
I think when you're comping for a buyer, you're probably more conservative on the market. You're trying to get them the best deal, trying to make sure they don't overpay, but no, not really. Not really. I'm trying to see what the market's willing to pay. The value of property is what a market is willing to pay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. I'm trying to find out that, I'm trying to see where we find that, see if I had my dashboard, I would know where she was at. But I don't have no damn dashboard. But anyway, there's a report that says how much properties have increased, and that's not a bad calculation to make just that. Because what I try to do is I try to get numbers in my head. It doesn't mean they're final numbers. It's just I need something to work off of, right? So once I do a price per square foot, whatever, and I'm like, okay, I got this number, then I can start subtracting or adding from that number. But if I need to know what I'm working with. All right, let's do, which one was yours?
You helped me with this one, before actually. It's 1,000 via Capri celebration.
So why are we doing that one again? Just practice?
Oh,
Yeah, well,
nice.
yeah, let's do one that they have.
I have one.
Mario all the time.
Good morning.
Okay,
There
wait,
you go.
Or you wanna go? Or
ladies first.
you
let's
go.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, it's back in Ocala.
go. Fuck Ocala,
150.
bro.
Northeast. 50.
She's like, hey, you live in Ocala, don't you?
No.
Oh, okay. She goes, no. No, I love it. It's not a market that I know as well. So when I trying to comp shit on it. So, all right.
Okay, 150 Northeast,
What is it? What 50?
150
Uh-huh.
Northeast NE 52nd Avenue.
Northeast 52nd.
Yes. 34470.
This one. 150 Northeast 52nd Avenue. Esther.
Yes.
Okay. All right, looks like the lot size is 0.32 acres. We've got a 3.3, 1524 square feet, built in 1985. Patio, porch, septic, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. Got that, 3.3, 1524. Okay. You've never seen this property, right?
That's the one that I went, under contract. And we offered 240.
Oh, you offer, okay.
They're asking 220.
Oh, so you are under contract right now for it? You want to see if you messed up?
Yes, I want to see if I'm moving forward with it. Because the day the appraiser goes there, I want to make sure I'm like,
All right, it's a decent neighborhood here,
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's nothing like crazy, but it's nice.
Right. My buyer loved the house. She
Look,
walked in and she's like,
A
"This is
cop,
my
a cop
house."
lives in the neighborhood. That's good. Okay.
So I'm like, okay, you cleaned it. No, we'll see.
Right.
All right. So residential, let's do it again. Active, pending, sold.
When did you run the contract?
This week, last week.
Single family.
On Tuesday. And we just have to extend it.
Okay. So it was 1524 square feet.
50-24, yes.
All right. Subtract 20%. Tell me what that is.
1219.
Add 20%.
And that will be 1828.
1900. All right. All right. This looks like pretty much the same type of area, like neighborhood here. So we seem to have a good amount of things to look at. Let's just take a look at these first. All right. All right, so yours was 15 what square feet?
1524.
1524. What do I feel like? Oh, that you're that's right, you're pending on this one. I was like, another one another one that showed up. All right, so that's your property. So let's take a look at your property. Okay.
Yes.
1 day on the market. Okay. 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2-car garage, blah, blah, blah. Home sale, 1 acre, over a 1/4 acre. Big Florida room. Okay. Brown carpet, awesome.
What town is this?
Okay. You've seen this one.
I've seen a lot. of homes.
What worries me is that there's not really any remodeling, that's happened in the last.
All right, so so you got this on the contract for what? 240?
240.
240, okay. So we got,
Not yet.
And
The inspection,
When's your loan contingency? And how many days?
30 days.
all right. So let's look at the highest price one. So here's one that closed at 270. It's a 3.2, almost identical square footage, same area.
I think it was the person I said, I'm like, okay, 240, we're good.
I think, yeah. This one has
Look
a,
at it.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
look at that kitchen.
yeah.
Compared to mine, mine
Is
is
that
like
Gordon Park?
nostalgic 1989.
Yeah, you overpaid.
Girl.
No.
More like 1970s. Those couches.
And it has a pool. Yeah,
Wait,
that's probably not best apples to apples.
Yeah.
Yeah, you overpaid for sure.
Every appraisal, every appraisal I've gotten back since November has given 15 grand for a pool.
Why would you do that to your client? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
All right, this one here,
Sure, let's go.
yeah, this one here might still be nicer than yours. Yeah.
Right.
What did this sell for?
235.
Damn.
Well,
Negotiate on it.
here's the good part is that you at least have properties that have sold up to 270. So from an appraiser's eyes, I mean, they should take into account what it looks like on the inside, but I don't know that they would be as harsh as maybe I would be, you know, because I look at that one that sold for 270, I'm like, there's got to be at least 50 G's worth of renovations here. You know, so if we were just to subtract 50 G's from that, we'd bring, you know, we'd be down to what? Yeah, 220.
Which is the asking price.
Was what the asking price was, right? So, but this is the market we're in, right?
Right.
So yeah, this one's nicer. This one sold for 235. See if there's any no seller concessions. Yeah, I mean it's on the edge for sure. Here's one that sold for 192. This one sold for
What square
190.
footage is yours?
1524.
All these are almost identical size. I mean, they are. Yeah, it's cash deal. It's closer to you, but it's 192.
I think that
How
one
long
might
ago
be
was
nicer.
that
But it, I don't care. I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's true.
The other one had like brown flooring.
Yeah.
Carpets.
How many offers were there on?
Huh?
How many offers? Were there multiple offers?
He said that.
All right, so
They always say that, all right, you're the top 3.
I had to
You're
listen.
higher.
They told me that, and one time the house was right next to like a
Well, look.
crack house. It
When was that sold?
that sold November 21. So look, a lot of things have happened.
Right.
Was that? Oh, that's right. You're right. January. So not that far along. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna be dicey. That appraisal is gonna be dicey. Like I said, the best thing you got going for is that 270, but you know that one was like highly remodeled,
Right, with it.
you know, with a pool. So
So the listing agent called me, like, I guess as he was going to make his decision, he just asked, he said, like, it might
Do you
not
have
raise at 240. He said, you know, and we didn't write anything as far as like any appraisal gap.
okay,
Like, he just asked, you know,
do they have the cash if that
right, and I
happens?
just say, sure.
You just said sure.
Well, because I knew, I said they do, because I knew that they had 10,000 to go over any appraisal gap if needed.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. You didn't sign that you
Right,
would.
we don't have anything in writing.
Did they ask you that? Did they ask you that prior? Is this fucking plug not working? Did they ask you that prior to them accepting the offer?
Yes. Why?
No, I'm just curious if you said that, like, if it was after they signed, I would have said something like, well, I'd have to talk to them to see what they had, you know, instead of telling them sure. Right.
Right.
But if it was before, then I
said they
understand.
do, because I know that they do have that specific amount of money that they could pay towards any kind of appraisal gap that they told me. But now with inspection, the house has a leak, I mean, the roof. And we gonna negotiate it to pay half. So I'm thinking that, when the appraisal comes back, if it's lower than 240, there's time, there's room for negotiation, no?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't sign an appraisal gap
No.
situation, so this is what happens, so this is a good example, right? So if something appraises and you didn't sign anything like that, right, and it's within the 30 days,
Mhm.
financing contingency, then, I always try to get them to drop the price to what it is first, that's always what I'm gonna try. Just say, if you hadn't said sure, then I would have been like, hey, like my clients, don't want, like, they can't, they're not willing to pay over the appraised value of the property. Is, can you talk to the seller about lowering the price to appraised value? Right. And if they're like, I don't know, let me talk to the seller, they come back, they're like, no, they said they won't do it, but what can you do? And I'm like, let me talk to my client. And then I would talk to my client and be like, all right, let's not use our whole 10 grand right now. Let's just tell them that we can say, hey, I talked to them. They don't feel comfortable with this, but I was able to get 5,000, them to come up $5,000 above, the appraised value. You think that's something we can make work? Because I don't know that they got anything more that they can actually give. Like I would play that game.
Before the appraisal or?
No, this is after the appraisal has come.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, the appraisal came in low.
Yeah.
We know it's low, and I'm usually coming to them with like, I want them to drop it to the price.
Yeah.
That's what's fair. That's what, the seller, I always say something like, it's never me. I always say it's the other, I talk to the buyer, and honestly, it's like, I was trying to get some money out of them, but they told me they don't feel comfortable paying over appraised value. And I understand, they're buying their first home and they're thinking that they're going in the hole here and just want to see if the seller would be open to just dropping into appraised value. Because that's what it is with the property. That's what the lender's saying is worth, and if they settle for it, great. If not, then that's when I start saying, okay, let me go back to them. And then I go back to them, even though I already knew I had 10 grand to play with,
Right.
but I'm going back to them because I'm showing them that I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do the other side. Hey, I'm working on this for you. I'm trying to make this work for us. Right? I'm on your side. Let me go beat up my buyer to see if they'll give me more. But really what I'm doing is calling them up and saying, hey, look, they want some more. I don't want to give them everything. Let's try giving them half of this right now and then see if they can settle there. And we'll be done. Knowing that our max is, and if they keep pushing and your buyer still wants it, you just feel like, maybe I play it to 7,500. Then be like, all right, now they're having to borrow money from the cousin, but I got you another 2,500. You know what I mean? Like, and then, but at the end of the day, they're like, great job. Like, thank you, like for making this work, right? But really, it's like I'm just kind of playing the game. In this case, there's a shot you're gonna have an appraisal issue, but you didn't sign that thing, so you still got a shot of saying that. And at the end of the day, the best leverage you got is this is all I can do, right? At the end of the day, you've kept it off the market now for 21, 25 days, whatever. You're gonna have to put it back on the market, go through this process, or my buyer's willing to overpay $10,000. Can we make this work? Like literally, it's the most that they got. Like after they had more, I try to get it out of them because I want to make this deal work. But we'll see.
I have a question. To protect our buyers, if we get an appraisal back before our loan contingency time is up and they don't want to drop the price, it's basically under appraised. So can I still get my buyer's escrow back?
Yeah. So at that point in time, I would call the lender up and say, I want denial letter.
So then, and so I can always protect my buyers if we order the appraisal before our loan contingency time is up.
Correct.
Just get it on
your,
a deal.
your appraisal, yeah.
Doesn't matter what you offer above, because you can always get your escrow back if you order the appraisal back early. I guess with a,
Yeah.
because the sellers don't want to lower it to appraised price. And
Right. If you can't come to an agreement within that 30-day period, then that's a financing issue because the lender agreed to lend you a certain amount of money to buy the property at this purchase price.
so on day one, order your appraisal. For day three, if you're sure on you want the home, get it back in that loan commitment period.
Right. Usually you get it back regardless within the 30-day period. A lot of people don't order an appraisal right off the rip because they might back out during inspection anyway. And you don't want to spend $500 on an appraisal when you didn't actually need, when you backed out day 5 because.
But if I write a 25-day loan contingency just to be more competitive, I would order.
Yeah, you could order.
Especially if it's a new
Yeah.
home, there's not, nothing much can come up that you wouldn't want a newer home.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I want a property and I want to feel safe about something, and I'm not like Bobby being the buyer, like I don't have a problem spending $500 to figure some shit out because it's too important, right? So what? I lose $500 on an appraisal, but I figured out what I needed to figure out, and that's what you think about. But somebody who, maybe somebody doesn't have that money to do that or whatever. But what I'm saying, when you advise a client, just like, if there's ways to do this, it's going to cost you a little bit to find this out, and there's a chance that we don't get this deal and you're out $500, but it's better than being out $3,000 for your escrow deposit or whatever you have, right? And that's sometimes what you got to do to get the deal that you want. I mean, it's just real estate's one of those things that it's almost like you just can't you can't tiptoe your way into something good. You kind of got to be aggressive. You have to say, hey, you want this? Great, this is what we have to do to get it. And then you go after it. That's when people are like, oh, like in this kind of market, you have your financing ready, your cash ready, your thing ready. And when we see it, we're pouncing on it. Like that's the kind of market we're in. But even then, even if I wasn't in this kind of market, good deals always move fast. You're never going to find, a great deal that's going to stick around. You gotta see it and pull the trigger on it. So just real quick, just to finish things off, before my computer dies, because apparently this plug does not work. Just know that you can view the history information on a property if you click this button here. Okay, so if you ever find yourself like something's weird here, like like it was like something's back on market, or this active days on market doesn't match the combined days on market, meaning they took it off the market for a certain period of time, put it back, then you can go into the history and try to figure out, hey, what happened here? When did it go under contract? What happened? Why did they put it back on the market? That kind of thing. You can look at the history, and you can say, it'll show you like, okay, this went active as a new listing, 11/17. It actually went pending 3 days later, sold, and then why is that so?
That's not mine.
Was that active on the market? What did it say? It said new, like it just like went back new, but that doesn't make any sense. Because it sold on that same date. But that's where you would find the history. So just in general, yeah, it is. Why is everybody doing this? Yeah.
It was just sold.
Okay, so
Yeah, 1% figured it.
okay, so this is the one that sold for 192. So they're flipping this, apparently. And they got it on at 299. Okay, so this one was that one that we were like, if 192 was still nicer. Let's see what they did to it then. You got to be a cocky son of a bitch to put that back on the market at 299. Okay, this is different, right?
Wait, this is the 192 one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These people got a great deal. Do some renovations, they'll get 3. Like,
And they're listing it at what?
Is that cool?
but yeah, the last pool had 270 though, and that was what, a month ago? That shed, non-use things.
What is this one listed at?
This is
299.
Oh.
So this one, all right.
289, 285.
So okay, so this one's this one that sold for 192. This is what it used to look like. So they actually sold it. They actually closed on it at 1/11/2020.
Oh, I guess we're shit out of luck, guys.
Yep, I think it's
Bye.
okay, bye.